Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, and fellow literature enthusiasts, we have come to the end of what has been an incredible journey for the past 2 days and today. We have shared magic of words, explored new ideas, and witnessed the power of storytelling to inspire, provoke, and unite. And now, as we gather for the final time at this year's Islamabad Literature Festival, I want to thank each and every one of you for being the part of this extraordinary celebration of literature. To all the authors, panelists, and speakers who have graced our stages, you have brought your stories, your wisdom, and your passion to life. Your contributions have made this festival truly special, and we are deeply grateful for your time, your insights, and your generosity. Before we say our final goodbyes, it's my honor to invite some of our distinguished speakers to share their thoughts and reflections on what we have experienced over the last 3 days. So without further delay, please join me in welcoming Ms. Muniza Shamsi, a writer and critic, to please come and share a few thoughts about the event.
Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you to Oxford University Press and the Islamabad Literature Festival for this tremendous event. It's been a great pleasure for me to be here today and take part in the 10th anniversary, which I have actually attended the Islamabad Literature Festival since its inaugural 10 years ago. And what a great experience it's been. I have been to so many interesting and lively sessions on a wide range of subjects. And it's been both wonderful to observe and be a part of the great literary event as it has developed and grown and continued to draw large audiences. I would like to add particularly warm memories that I carry of Fahmida Riaz, Abdullah Hussain, Zia Muhyiddin, and Intizar Hussain, who are no longer with us, but the rich legacy that they have left lives on, though in very different ways, which embodies the diversity and range of the ILF, including its engagement with Pakistan's diverse languages. Of course, we have had many distinguished writers with us this weekend, many of whom are living legends. Many have taken part in earlier ILFs. At the same time, it is also exciting to have had the opportunity to engage with new talent. The fact that this weekend, on its 10th anniversary, has engaged with past, present, and the future with the topical theme, sustainability, words change matters, has led to many truly informative sessions on ecology, education, women's empowerment, politics, technology, and spanning different disciplines: art, poetry, fiction, non-fiction, translations. And of course, the excellent book launches that are such an integral part of ILF introduce us to so many new works. And it is a treat to have the books here with us and actually get them signed by authors. I'm actually a great fiend for signed books. I want to go on a little bit on a slightly different track in a way, because we live in a very competitive, conflict-ridden world. And some of it seems to be endlessly caught up with colonial notions of one language versus another, that we tend to forget how words and literatures travel and how they influence each other and are related to each other. A particularly well-known example is the Sanskrit Panchatantra, a collection of allegorical fables about animals narrated by an Indian monk to instruct a prince. Over many centuries, these stories traveled eastwards to Indonesia and China, and westward to Persia, were translated into Pahlavi, became Kalila wa Dimna in Arabic and Persian, reached Europe, and influenced the fables of La Fontaine in the 17th century. And there are possible links to the Aesop's fables too. The region, which is Pakistan today, was described in the writing of Skylax and Herodotus long before Alexander crossed the Indus. The Greeks divided the world into East and West to reinforce the rhetoric of war, but the universal nature of literature defied this. Alexander was indigenized in Persian and other Oriental texts, including the Shahnama and the Sikandarnama. A few years ago, in a special issue I did of Andalus, which I guess edited the Journal of Post-Colonial Writing, the Arabic scholar Robert Irwin stated that the Arabian Nights was so influential on European literature after the Arabian Nights was translated that it is second only to the Bible. And I also discovered that there are links between the writing of Muslim Spain and the Hebrew poetry in the 9th and 10th century that was also existed there. Of course, the Arab conquest of Sindh and Spain in the same year, 711 AD, led to the movement of literatures and ideas across vast landmasses. Arabic influenced the development of rhyme in Europe. Arabic, Persian, Turkic, and Sanskrit were to become the root language of Urdu. But Arabic literature and law passed into other subcontinental literatures too. Specific influences linking the languages and arts of Spain and Sindh have been the subject of research by modern Sindhi scholars, such as the Dr. N.A. Baloch. In Europe, the Euro-Arab culture that flourished for 800 years profoundly influenced European literature. Arabic poetry, imbued with the metaphorical, mystic concepts of the lover and the beloved, influenced the earliest vernacular poetry of Europe, the troubadour or courtly love poetry of 12th century Provence. Significantly, Ezra Pound, who defined 20th century modernism, admired and translated Provençal poetry in the 1980s. This encouraged the Pakistan's pioneering Anglophone poet Tawfiq Rafat to translate Bulle Shah and Qadir Yar into English. They were, of course, as you know, I don't have to say they were leading Punjabi poets, but the point is that Rafat's essays on translating these two writers turned out to have extraordinary echoes with Seamus Heaney's comments on how he translated Beowulf. Of course, in that hybrid discipline, Pakistani English literature, several poets have now written ghazals and qasidas in English. Both are poetic forms which enjoyed a special place in Urdu literature, and they date back to ancient Arabia and were prevalent in Muslim Spain. Of course, until the Muslims were driven out of Spain until 1492, and so was all their literary forms, and the rise of the Renaissance gave rise to the narrative of an exclusively European Greco-Roman culture. But 400 years later, in the 1930s, the Spanish poet Federico Garcia Lorca, who was of Andalusian origin, reclaimed and modernized these poetic forms in his book, the Divan del Taramid, and he calls them qasidas and gasalas, which we can read as ghazals and qasidas. However, it's important to remember that in ancient times, literary poems and tales, including the Iliad and the Odyssey, belonged to a popular and widely disseminated oral narrative. In our part of the world, to this day, our poets can reach out to vast audiences through recitation, music, and song. The British poet Zafar Kunyal, the son of a Pakistani Kashmiri father, discovered that he was named after the Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar. Why? Because his father recalled... Oh, hello.
Can you shut the door, please? Darwaza band kar de piche.
Okay. Well, he was named Bahadur Shah Zafar because his father recalled carrying bricks as a 13-year-old and listening to fellow bricklayers reciting poems by the exiled Mughal emperor about moving and losing your land. So here we have words moving across history, geography, class. And this actually brings me to one of the central issues that was mentioned at the ILF. In this day and age of the AI, social media, the internet, and the mobile, how do we get children to read? Well, I wish I knew the answer to that. It just keeps coming back to me that we have an oral tradition. Can't we develop it more? Can't we use that as an enjoyment to encourage the young to take it a step further and then explore the written word? And nowadays, with the access of the you can get e-books. I mean, now, instead of your books disappearing in the post, you can just order them in 2 seconds. And the advent of the internet and e-books and not social media, but I have my doubts about some of the false messages. But the advent of the internet and all that, it has made it possible for us to learn and know more about literatures that are happening all over the world. And it's made a profound difference to the book trade and what's available in bookshops. Anyway, the answer, I don't know, perhaps, as I said, lies and storytelling or creating narratives that can pull young people in and impel them to reach out for something of interest that touches their hearts, rather than being scolded and told you must read. And of course, so much depends on the quality of books. And this interesting in writing and the access to books is, of course, what this whole event is about. And what is so important in a literary festival is that you interact. Again, it's an orality. It's an issue of orality. You interact with the authors. You interact on panel discussions. You listen in. You find new dimensions to books you may have read or may think you want to read. And the other great thing I noticed here was that you had quite a lot of young people, students, who came in and were interested and asked some very pertinent questions. And sometimes you also had parents bringing their young children in. And that might evoke an interest. But to me, it seemed a very good beginning. Thank you very much.
اب میں درخواست کرنا چاہوں گی ڈاکٹر نجیبہ عارف سے کہ وہ پلیز آئیں اور اپنے خیالات کا اظہار کریں.
صاحبان مسند اور معزز خواتین و حضرات، سب سے پہلے تو میں اس ادبی میلے کے منتظمین کا شکریہ ادا کرنا چاہتی ہوں، جنہوں نے اسلام آباد کی دھندلی پڑتی فضا میں ایک رنگ برنگے میلے کا انعقاد کیا، جہاں 3 دن تک اسلام آباد کی کم از کم 3 نسلوں کے نمائندے ایک چھت کے نیچے جمع ہوئے اور ادب، شاعری، موسیقی، فلم، تھیٹر سمیت فنون لطیفہ کے تمام مظاہر اور ان کے بارے میں گفتگو میں شریک ہوئے. اردو، انگریزی اور پاکستانی زبانوں کے ادب کی نمائندگی کرنے والی شخصیات اس میلے میں شریک ہوئیں اور ادب سے لے کر سیاست اور صحافت تک، اور تعلیم و تدریس سے لے کر سماجی تبدیلی اور ترقی تک ہر طرح کے موضوعات زیر بحث آئے. ان ادبی میلوں کا سب سے بڑا اور اہم پہلو یہی ہے کہ یہاں ذہنی اور فکری ارتقاء کے مواقع میسر آتے ہیں، نئے نئے نکات سوچتے ہیں اور نئے امکانات کی تلاش اور جستجو کا عمل تیز تر ہوتا ہے. لیکن اس کے ساتھ ساتھ ایک اور پہلو بھی قابل توجہ ہے، اور وہ ہے پاکستان کے اس مثبت چہرے کا فروغ جو در حقیقت پاکستان کا اصل چہرہ ہے، جہاں مختلف الخیال لوگ ایک ہی پلیٹ فارم پر گفتگو کر سکتے ہیں، ایک دوسرے سے اختلاف کر سکتے ہیں اور تمام تر اختلافات کے باوجود ایک دوسرے کا احترام کر سکتے ہیں. ہمیں پاکستان میں ایسے ہی مثبت رویوں کو فروغ دینے کی ضرورت ہے، اور میں سمجھتی ہوں کہ آکسفورڈ یونیورسٹی پریس اس سلسلے میں داد و تحسین کا مستحق ہے۔ اس ادبی میلے کا مرکزی موضوع ہے سسٹینیبلٹی، ورڈز چینجنگ دا مائنڈ سیٹس۔ اس موضوع کے بارے میں پہلے بھی ایک مرتبہ عرض کر چکی ہوں کہ سسٹینیبلٹی یعنی پائیداری کے تصور کو ایک تبدیلی سے منسلک کرنا بظاہر متضاد تصورات کو یکجا کرنے کے مترادف معلوم ہوتا ہے، اور اقبال کا ایک شعر یاد آتا ہے کہ ثبات ایک تغیر کو ہے زمانے میں۔ تو گویا ہم بھی اس میلے میں ایسی ہی صورتحال کی پائیداری چاہتے ہیں جو تبدیلی پر بنیاد رکھتی ہے، ایک ارتقائی تبدیلی۔ مگر فی الحال مجھے اس موضوع کے دوسرے حصے پر کچھ کہنا ہے، یعنی کیا الفاظ ذہنوں کو تبدیل کرنے کا ذریعہ ہیں؟ خواتین و حضرات، ہم ایک پیچیدہ صورتحال میں جی رہے ہیں، ایک ایسی صورتحال جس میں معاشرے کے ہر طبقے کی جان معیشت کے طوطے میں ہے۔ کبھی کبھی تو ایسا لگتا ہے کہ ہم گھروں میں نہیں، بازاروں اور منڈیوں میں رہ رہے ہیں، جہاں ہر چیز کی ایک قیمت ہے اور وہ قیمت ادا کیے بغیر اسے حاصل نہیں کیا جا سکتا۔ اب ہمیں اس خرید و فروخت کے لیے گھر سے باہر جانے کی بھی ضرورت نہیں رہی، بازار خود بخود چل کر ہمارے گھروں تک آ گئے ہیں۔ ان بازاروں میں ہر شے برائے فروخت ہے، حتیٰ کہ لفظ بھی، خیال بھی، افکار بھی، خیالات بھی۔ خرید و فروخت کی اس گہما گہمی میں یہ سوچنا کہ الفاظ ذہنوں کو بدل سکتے ہیں، اس حد تک تو درست ہے کہ الفاظ توہم کا ایک کارخانہ کھڑا کر سکتے ہیں، ایک ایسا کارخانہ جس میں ہر عدم کو موجود کیا جا سکتا ہے۔ یہ نیریٹو بلڈنگ کا دور ہے۔ نیریٹو بلڈنگ الفاظ کے طلسماتی قلعے سے تعمیر ہوتے ہیں۔ یہ ایسے طلسماتی قلعے ہیں جن کی صرف تصویریں اور فساد نظر آتے ہیں، جن کے پس پشت کوئی حقیقت موجود نہیں ہوتی۔ تو کیا واقعی الفاظ ذہنوں کو بدل سکتے ہیں؟ اس سوال کا جواب جتنی شدت سے ہاں میں دیا جا سکتا ہے، اتنے ہی تیقن سے نفی میں بھی دیا جا سکتا ہے۔ الفاظ جب کثرتی استعمال سے کلیشے بن جائیں تو نہ صرف ان کا اصل مفہوم ہماری آنکھوں سے اوجھل ہو جاتا ہے، بلکہ ان کا اثر بھی ختم ہو جاتا ہے۔ پھر نہ وہ ذہنوں کو بدل سکتے ہیں اور نہ صورتحال کو بدلنے میں کوئی معاونت کرتے ہیں۔ وہ صرف وقتی اشتعال اور ہیجان پیدا کر سکتے ہیں، محض سطحی تبدیلی کا باعث بن سکتے ہیں، محض ہجوم کو تحریک دینے کے کام آ سکتے ہیں، لیکن کوئی دیر پا اور مستقل ارتقائی عمل آغاز کرنے کی صلاحیت کھو بیٹھتے ہیں۔ اگر اس کی مثال دیکھنا چاہیں تو اس وقت موجود معاصر بین الاقوامی صورتحال کو دیکھ لیجئے۔ ملکی اور بین الاقوامی سطح پر ہماری معاصر سیاست میں کس شدت سے مبالغہ آمیز انداز میں اعلیٰ ترین تصورات کے نمائندہ الفاظ کا استعمال جاری ہے، مگر ان کی حقیقت محض ایک بلبلے سے زیادہ نہیں۔ جمہوریت ہمارے عہد کا کلیدی لفظ ہے، ہم سب جمہوری ہونے کے دعوے دار ہیں، مگر خواتین و حضرات، کہاں ہے جمہوریت؟ انسان دوستی ہمارا سب سے بڑا نعرہ ہے، مگر غزہ کی مائیں ملبے کے ڈھیر پر بچے جنم دے رہی ہیں، اور وہ بچے اپنے ہی خون سے نہا کر خون کا کفن اوڑھ رہے ہیں۔ انسان دوستی کے سب دعوے دھرے کے دھرے رہ گئے ہیں۔ انسانی مساوات اور انسانی حقوق ہمارا سب سے بڑا ایجنڈا ہے، مگر یہ حقوق نسل اور رنگ اور قومیت کی شرائط پر دستیاب ہیں۔ قانون کی حکمرانی ہماری نجات کا وسیلہ ہے، مگر قانون کون سا؟ ملکی، علاقائی اور بین الاقوامی ہر سطح پر قانون ست ربڑی گیند کی طرح لمحہ بلمحہ اپنی پوزیشن اور اپنا موقف بدل رہا ہے۔ ہم نے اپنی جدید زندگی کو جن تصورات اور اصطلاحات کی بنیاد پر استوار کیا تھا، وہ محض کاغذ کی ناؤ ثابت ہوئے ہیں۔ ہم جن الفاظ کو اپنا نجات دہندہ سمجھے تھے وہ کھوکھلے اور بے جان نکلے ہیں۔ تو اب ہمیں کیا کرنا چاہیے؟ کیا ہمیں ایک نئی لغت کی ضرورت ہے یا ایک نئی تعبیر کی ضرورت ہے؟ دنیا کو مسرت، محبت اور امن کا گھر بنانے کے لیے اہل علم و ادب کو کیا کردار ادا کرنا چاہیے؟ یہ وہ سوال ہے جو اس کانفرنس کے اختتام پر ہمیں ایک دوسرے سے پوچھنا چاہیے، اور صرف پوچھنا ہی نہیں چاہیے، بحیثیت ادیب عالمی منظرنامے پر اپنے حقیقی اور سچے رد عمل کا اظہار بھی کرنا چاہیے۔ ہم ادیب ہمیشہ سے امن اور محبت کے گیت گانے کے دعوے دار رہے ہیں، مگر جب امن اور محبت تو کیا، خود انسانیت بھی اپنی بقا اور وقار کی جنگ لڑ رہی ہو، تو ادیب کا ہتھیار، اس کے لفظ اس جنگ میں ضرور شریک ہونے چاہیے۔ میں بحیثیت ادیب اور اپنے جیسے بہت سے ادیبوں کے نمائندے کی حیثیت سے اس پلیٹ فارم سے یہ کہنا چاہتی ہوں کہ یوکرین سمیت دنیا کے ہر خطے کو جنگ سے پاک ہونا چاہیے۔ ہم امن چاہتے ہیں، لیکن جو کچھ فلسطین میں ہو رہا ہے اسے جنگ کہنے کے لیے اخلاقی دیوالیہ پن کی ضرورت ہے۔ فلسطین میں جنگ نہیں ہو رہی، جینوسائیڈ ہو رہا ہے۔ یہ 21ویں صدی کا ہولوکاسٹ ہے۔ ہم اس نسل کشی کی پرزور مذمت کرتے ہیں اور اپنی حکومتوں سے مطالبہ کرتے ہیں کہ عالمی اداروں کو اس منافقانہ روش سے روکنے کی ہر ممکن کوشش کریں۔ اسی میں ہماری بقا ہے، ورنہ آج وہ، کل ہماری باری ہے۔ اور اس حوالے سے اپنے ایک قطعے پر محض اس خیال سے کہ حصہ بقدر جثہ اس صورتحال پر اپنی جذبات کا اظہار کرنے کے لیے ایک قطعے پر اپنی گزارشات کا اختتام کروں گی۔ جنگ بندی غزہ میں ہو کیوں کر، جنگ بندی غزہ میں ہو کیوں کر، ویٹو پاور ہے ان کے ہاتھوں میں، آستی ہے لہو سے تر جن کی، اور بوئے ریا ہے باتوں میں۔ شکریہ۔
بہت شکریہ ڈاکٹر نجیب عارف اپنے خوبصورت خیالات کا اظہار کرنے کے لیے۔ میں والدین سے التماس کروں گی کہ اپنی الفا جنریشن کا تھوڑا خیال رکھیں، اگر وہ بے چین ہیں تو ان کو آرام سے پیار سے ہال سے باہر لے جائیے۔ I would now like to invite Mohammad Mikhail Sumru, Head of Corporate Communications, Kets Pharma, to please come and share your thoughts.
As we conclude this year's ILF, I thank the organizers, our inspiring speakers, panelists, authors, and all of you who have come together to make this festival memorable. Last year's ILF brought us to this beautiful space in the heart of Islamabad, and we're delighted to gather here once again. This venue now feels like home for ILF. It's a peaceful spot, perfect for a celebration of ideas and creativity. Over the past 3 days, we've shared conversations that connected us, challenged us, and encouraged us to see the world from new perspectives. To our speakers and authors, thank you for sharing your stories and insights. And to everyone here, your presence has made these days all the more meaningful. As we reach the end of ILF, I hope we all carry forward the curiosity and inspiration sparked here. May we continue to explore the power of literature in our lives and meet again next year to celebrate new voices, new ideas, and new stories. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I would now like to invite Mr. Arshad Saeed Hussain, Managing Director, Oxford University Press, to please come and share his thoughts as we wrap up this remarkable event. Please, sir.
Distinguished keynote speakers, Ms. Mariza Shamsi, Mrs. Najeeba Arif, Mr. Mikhail Sumro, Senior Manager Corporate Communications, Getz Pharma, distinguished scholars, authors, students, sponsors, media representatives, ladies and gentlemen. For the 10th occasion, we have come to the end of the Islamabad Literature Festival. The sun has long set on this last evening of the festival, and even the gleam of twilight has been extinguished. Night has fallen, turning the lovely green hills around the city to dark gray, concealing the mountains beyond. Tomorrow, these halls, which have so comfortably accommodated our deliberations, will be silent and empty. And we will each be getting back to our different lives, as tomorrow opens for each of us the first day of the future. For it is the future that much of this ILF has been about. To many of us, the future may be an abyss of darkness and fear. Fear of loss of human dignity and freedom. Fear of growing violence and spreading wars. Fear of climate change crisis and depleting resources. Fear of deepening poverty and hunger. Yes, certainly all these fears are real, but the essence of humanity is our ability to find solutions and move forward. Ladies and gentlemen, so long as there exists the human spirit, which reverberated in these halls during the past 2.5 days, there will always be hope. Hope of the future. And that, to me, is what all the creative energy we have seen at ILF epitomizes: hope. And in the words of Allama Iqbal, "Nahi hai na umeed, Iqbal, apni kishte veeran se, zara nam ho to ye mitti badi zarkhez hai saqi." The deliberations of the last 2.5 days have analyzed the major challenges ahead, whether geopolitical, economic, environmental, or educational, and helped each of us to develop an attitude towards them. We have examined and analyzed the most important issues of our time. The 10th ILF was also about the creative spirit, developments in fiction, drama, the performing arts, the media, and the enjoyment of poetry and literature in Urdu, English, Punjabi, and Pashto. During the festival, our focus has been on climate. Whether discussing the investment climate in Pakistan, with figures clear for all to see, or addressing the horrors of climate change and how we shape Pakistan's climate future, the topic has been central. Our poetry sessions have highlighted social issues, showcasing remarkable resilience of literature amidst chaos, as words continue to hold their proud place. We've heard from our panelists on media ethics and the responsibility of truth, reaching a mutual consensus on documenting a code of ethics. Discussions on search for stability in Pakistan have highlighted the multiple challenges that act as barriers to progress. Additionally, there has been a strong emphasis on the need for an updated curriculum that makes education more relevant by focusing on upskilling, enabling us to learn and relearn. Education brings information and knowledge, but it also teaches structure, order, and systematic work habits. Most importantly, education teaches us to think and question. The efflorescence of AI and automation stands to reshape how we approach work. Sustainability and efficiency will be a key metric for success in the future of work. Our festivals are a vibrant platform for discourse and debate, fostering intellectual exchange of and by the people, resulting in cultural enrichment and social impact. The audience participation, especially by the youth expressing their perspectives, encourages diversity, inclusion, and cultural activism. We hope to inspire action, influencing public opinion and policy making and creative stimulation. In our future festivals, we will bring curatorial and programming innovation with the youth manning some sessions and encouraging new talent. We will continue to bring young minds and literary luminaries together, and it is heartening to see that a large number of young people are present in the audience today. For now, it is coming on to time to say goodbye. I must thank all our speakers, panelists, and performers. Whether you came here from other parts of Pakistan or from your home or office here in the Twin Cities, thank you for inspiring and enlightening us all. I must give special thanks to all our sponsors and co-sponsors who have helped make ILF such a big success. Our sponsors include Getz Pharma, our title sponsor, Neo Color of Life, Millennium Education, Tapal Danidar, UBL Bank, NBP Bank, 4G Cement, 4G Fertilizer Company, U Microfinance Bank, UBL Funds, Allied Funds, SMS Security, Tehzeeb Foundation of Pakistan, SI Global, Money Matters, and Nestle Professional, without whose generous support this festival would not have been possible. Let me express my thanks to the media for their interest and enthusiasm. It is you who will carry around the country and around the world the deliberations held here, whether in the press or over the broadcast media or in your commentaries. And of course, I must thank the ILF team for their hard work in bringing together this festival. Muniza Ali, Samuel Ray, Sumair Qureshi, Afnan Khan, Ghausya Ali, Batul Nasir, Uzma Naz, Muntaha Ali, Ayaz Khawar, Asif Ali, Suleiman Salim, Aman Aziz, and the OUP admin team for their facilitation and support. A special thank you to Shazia Asad, Khurram Qureshi, Fayaz Raja, Suhail Bhatti, Wasif Javed, Aisha Khawar, and the entire North Sales team for their active support and participation. Faiz Farooqi and Shiraz Shamsad for looking after the security arrangements, Gibran Siddiqui and the Brand Accord team for event management, and Nutshell Communication for digital and PR services. A big thank you to all our OUP facilitators and the volunteers in red T-shirts who have taken such good care of all of us. Can I have Zainab and Janita come here? Zainab and Janita have been instrumental in managing me and my time. Thank you, Zainab and Janita. Ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for them. And I would like all the facilitators in red T-shirts. These are my red brigade. Can you all please stand up? Ladies and gentlemen, a very big hand for all of them. These young students, they're all volunteers. They have worked silently and tirelessly to make this festival a success over the past 2.5 days. A very big thank you to all of you. Thank you. And last but certainly not the least, I must express my profound thanks to all of you, our wonderful audience. I have no words to thank the people of Islamabad, this wonderful, wonderful audience, for being with us over the past 2.5 days. Your active participation, your energy and enthusiasm gives us the motivation to keep coming back here with our literature festival year after year. So thank you all. For our next literature festival, just to announce that we will be back from 7th to 9th of February 2025 in Karachi for the Karachi Literature Festival. And before I close, can I request the ILF Organizing Committee to please come down and have a group photograph with our keynote speakers. So Muniza and the team, can you all please come here?
Thank you to all our speakers for the insights, their wisdom, and their unwavering support and thought throughout this festival. As we draw this year's Islamabad Literature Festival to a close, I want you to leave with a simple but powerful thought. Literature is not just about books, it's about the conversations we make, the connections we have, and the ways in which stories have the power to change the world. From engaging author talks and thought-provoking panel discussion to the diverse voices and powerful stories shared, this festival has reminded us of unique and transformative power of words. We have witnessed this in every session where writers have opened their hearts, shared their stories, and challenged our perspectives. It's been an honor to witness the exchange of ideas here, and I hope you all leave this festival inspired to continue exploring, learning, and sharing the gift of storytelling. On behalf of the entire organizing team, our sponsors, and everyone who has made this festival possible, I would like to extend a heartfelt thanks to all of you for being here, for your enthusiasm, and for your love for literature. We look forward to seeing you next year, where we'll once again come together to celebrate the power of written word. Until then, keep reading, keep writing, and keep sharing your stories. With that, I declare the Islamabad Literature Festival officially closed. Have a wonderful evening with the Sufi night, which is about to start in 15 minutes. Just slow down and enjoy the evening with the Sufi night. Thank you very much.